Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Star Wars Vintage Collection Action Figure Review. And today, you guessed it, we are reviewing Snaggletooth, also known as Zutton. And as you can see, we have many different versions of the character in front. And I'm going to go into the history of the figure and how it evolved into what the figures we have today. So we're going to take a look at these figures, but we're just going to talk about Zutton. So Zutton is a Snivian, that's his alien race he comes from. And he was an artist turned bounty hunter. He was chasing down Thalassian slavers and ended up getting stranded on Tatooine and working his way to Mos Eisley Spaceport as a thug or a hired gun. They call him Snaggletooth because it's pronounced Fang, and that's the nickname they gave him at the cantina. So if we're looking at the history of this figure, the figure was released in 1978 as part of the Cantina Adventure set by Sears. I think I've talked about it a few times already, but it was really cool. It was the classic cardboard cutout view of the outside of the cantina, and it came with a 4-pack of action figures. It came with Snaggletooth, Greedo, Walrus Man, and Hammerhead. And this is the version, this figure here is the version that came in the Cantina Adventure set. And the reason it's this way is because the people at Kenner that were making the action figures, so they had only one photo to work from, and it was a photo of Zutton, but it's only from the chest up, so they thought that he was human-sized. So they created this human-sized Zutton. As they realized after the movie had been released that the Zutton that they put in the actual film in A New Hope is the shorter version. So they rushed the production people to stop creating the blue ones and just work on the red ones, and the rest is history. So let's take a look at this figure. It's pretty cool. This thing is very expensive because it's very rare. It's between $300–400. It's very simple Star Wars action figure. It's 5 points of articulation. It's really interesting figure. I always thought it was cool as a kid. I just didn't realize how expensive it was and why it was so expensive. Yeah, this is a pretty cool action figure as far as the old vintage Kenner action figures go. And then, as I said, they saw in the film that they had in the cantina scene, he was actually a shorter version of it. Same thing. It's just the only difference is with this, he's got no boots on. He's got hairy feet, and he's got no gloves and hairy hands. He has the same blaster, the Han Solo blaster as they're called in the Kenner line. So yeah, it's basically the same thing. And 5 points of articulation. Not a really great. I mean, great for the time, but not a definitive version of the character, obviously. But for Kenner, it was. So if you guys remember that god awful Star Wars holiday special that aired on TV, yeah, it was pretty bad. The only good thing about it was the Boba Fett cartoon, which was amazing. But otherwise, it was a really campy 1970s variety show. It was pretty bad. In that show, you're going to see the next version of Snaggletooth. It was called Zutmore, which is this figure here. Zutmore is actually a female Snivian. And she was in that holiday special in that cantina where B. Arthur sings all the songs. Yeah, so this was a figure that they released for the Power of the Jedi line in 2001. And it's pretty basic. It comes with 2 weapons. It comes with this grenade launcher type thing, which I don't understand, but hey, it's kind of interesting. I don't know what it is. It's some heavier blaster. And then he comes with this is the cool thing. He's got a holster, ankle holster, and he can pull out this weapon and, put it in. I guess looks like a holdout blaster of some sort. If this can get in there. Yeah, there we go. It's like a holdout blaster. He's got some interesting articulation, a little bit lazy. This arm doesn't move. It's just like this. This one, same thing. No insert joints on this one. The head isn't on a ball joint either. It's just can turn that much. But what's interesting about this character, it has the legs. You can articulate the bottom part of their legs, which is interesting. I don't know why they just did half that, and the waist turns. So the articulation is it's okay, but it's definitely not the definitive version of this character. Although I would like to see them create a new version of this using the newer technology they have, which would be really cool. I really like this character, and I'd like to see different versions of it, especially made well. And now I want you to take a look at these cards. So we have an original card back for 2020 back for Snaggletooth, although it's a repro, but it's really cool. And then I got this custom repro card back for blue Snaggletooth, right? I have a blue Snaggletooth, as you see. I didn't want to put him in a card, so I actually bought a Zutton from the 2004 Mos Eisley Scene 2 set, which had 3 characters in it, and this Zutton is actually pretty good. I'm gonna bring this closer so you can see it better. So this Zutton is very articulated. His knees, kind of a little bit like the other one we have. His knees bend, and his waist turns. His arms are rigid. They don't have any joints in them. But I just like the fact that they paid homage to the blue Snaggletooth action figure from the 1970s, 78, 79, which I thought was kind of cool. And they just, colored the character blue. So it's really an interesting character. That's the only reason why I purchased it, to go with the original ones. And so this is the actual Zutton that they released for the vintage collection. And this Zutton is pretty poor, in my opinion. This came out in the villain set. It was a 3-pack. It came out in 2012. This character also appeared with this Tusken Raider and a Boba Fett action figure in it. It's this is the version that you see him wandering around the streets of Mos Eisley if you just happen to not blink at that moment when characters are walking across the screen. But this is that version. So you see him in Mos Eisley. He comes with a blaster like Han Solo has, and in the back of his robes, you can slide the blaster in there. It's kind of like a holster for it. It's got the ball joint head. It's got the insert joints on the arms and legs. But the problem with this figure is, it's, as you can see, look, the pins that we used, they are a different color, which kind of defeats the purpose. And then also this bottom part of his robe, it hampers the movement of the legs. Maybe some soft goods would have been better for that. But I love the fact that he's got the humpback type of thing going on. And he looks just like he does in the movie. And he's got a great paint wash on the robes. And the sculpt is good. The head is good. It's pretty good. It's just, I think they can come up with a better one. I would say until they do, this is a definitive version of Zutton. But I think they can do better, obviously. So that's it for this episode of the Star Wars Vintage Collection Action Figure Review. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.